My name is Mahalia Kotjane, and I am co-founder and winemaker at Three Quarterz Wines. Fly me to the moon, let me play amongst the stars. A song by Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon, let me play.
Actually, at the back of my wine label, it says that, I've learned in my years of making wine that wine is constant proof that God loves us and wants to see us happy. And I think this song also just replicates that, like Take Me to the Moon, where it's endless and there's love, there's joy, there's no sorrow, but just a time of enjoyment. Yeah. What sparked an interest in wine was all by chance. So I grew up in Johannesburg, in the East Rand, in a township called Vosloorus, and there are no vineyards there, there's no wine. I'm from a Christian background, so my parents are like hardcore, very strict parents and Christians, and didn't allow us to drink any wine, so I had no wine background. And so in grade 9, we were tasked to do a project about the role of microorganisms. And so from beer brewing, yogurt making, cheese making, there was wine making. And I mean, my only connection to wine at that point was through the Bible, where Jesus made his first wine. So I thought, okay, this is a great opportunity now to drink wine, but also to make wine. I went to my local supermarket, I bought table grapes, had no clue there was a difference between wine and table grapes. And the instructions was I must, crush the skin and make sure that it's in the juice and it'll start fermenting spontaneously. I did exactly that. And say 3 to 4 days, I had to go back now to go do my observations to see, what was happening. And as I pulled out the jug from the cupboard, I was so immense. I was so surprised, like this wine started fermenting. And basically that's how my interest grew, or my interest sparked into the world of winemaking. So after matriculating, I said to my parents, I think I want to go make wine. My mother wasn't so keen on the idea. My father was very open-minded, but I think the reason why my mother wasn't so open-minded to the idea was, the stigma that's attached to alcohol. And I think growing up in a society where, she witnessed what alcohol can do, she was very concerned. But I think the biggest lesson in my journey, and for her as well, is not what alcohol does, it's what it can do when it's not consumed responsibly. After convincing my mom that, I think I should come to Cape Town to start winemaking, she said, okay, fine. When I came here, I thought in my mind, because, so growing up also, I used to watch Top Billing, and in Top Billing they would broadcast people, like swilling their wine glasses, and it looked so glamorous, and I thought, yes, so I'm gonna have a good time, I'm gonna be at the beach, and it's gonna be Table Mountain. And then I got to Elsenburg, and it was a farm, and I was like, no, this wasn't, I'd never imagined that. Yeah, I went to Elsenburg, I studied there for 4 years. I have a diploma in cellular technology, and then once I completed that, I participated in a 3-year internship with the Cape Winemakers Guild, their protege program, where basically it's a mentorship program, and you get to work with some of South Africa's top winemakers. And in those 3 years, I worked at Ernie Els with Louis Stratum, I worked at Hartenberg with Carl Schultz, and I worked at Steenberg, where John Lopsher was my mentor. And in the 3 years, you also get to do an international harvest. So I went to Burgundy, France to do a harvest there. And yeah, I have to say that those 3 years just were amazing. I learned a lot, like invaluable experience that I've taken with me into my journey now as a winemaker, as a brand owner, and I'm incorporating that into my winemaking as well. I grew up with boys, so growing up I was the only girl. I have 3 elder brothers, so they kind of like racked me up for it. So it was something not so far from me. I do work quite hard. So yeah. So hard work is part of winemaking, and that's actually a fruit of love, labor, and it's quite rewarding right at the end. So yeah. So this wine, well, the initial idea with going with a blend was I only have the Syrah on offering. So just to cater to a wider audience as well, I thought it would be nice to bring in a red blend. It's a Rhone blend, so I have a very big affinity to Syrah or Rhone style wines. This is a Three Quarterz red blend. The idea behind making that wine was, you know, to have a sister or a brother for the Syrah. So this is a red blend, Rhone style inspired by the classic Mediterranean varieties that are Syrah, Grenache, and Cinsault. The idea is to create a very classic, I would say, red blend that is not meant to be too serious, but it's actually quite serious in its nature actually, but something that's very accessible, very food friendly, and yeah, like something very enjoyable. You can go as deep as you want to with this wine. You know, you can either, you know, keep here or, you know, dig in deeper. Yeah, I would like my wines to be authentic, to really reflect where they come from as well. And one of my winemaking philosophies is to make wines that show character, and character that can be defined by terroir, where the wines come from. And I'd like to make wines that really show where they come from. So literally like minimal intervention. I don't want my hand to really show much in the winemaking, but more rather harnessing what the wine has to give. Heritage and background is a big thing for me, so I want the wines to also reflect that as well. So it's number one, I love the fact that it's not so high in alcohol. So this is a wine that goes really well, and also it goes well with it's a very versatile wine. You know, it's not like an extracted big heavy wine. This is a wine that you can have with friends, family, with a cheese platter, with food. So it's not a very overly complicated wine, but I think for winter, for me, it's really like, it ticks the box. It's been made with a lot of love. So if you're a serious wine collector, I think what you can look forward to is, you shouldn't expect the ordinary. I think this wine is very unique. It is feminine, but strong in character, yes. So I get beautiful bright red fruit on this wine. So like your strawberries, cherries, I get from this. It also has spice, some white pepper spice. On the palate, it's also got a beautiful bright acidity. It's got fruit, it's got that tannin, not very overwhelming, just there, it complements the wine. Very elegant, seamless, slick, doesn't try too hard. There's a lot of cohesion, you know, from the nose to the palate and delivery and so on, yeah. I'm keeping some to age to see how it will evolve and mature. I think it will really mature in a really beautiful way. I think you'll get more spice coming through, more like olive tapenade flavor profiles, mushrooms coming through. I think that's where I envision or see where this wine go. Character, quality, and personality is basically a philosophy that the brand and my winemaking is based on. The name is inspired by my unique birth order. I'm a third pregnancy, but the fourth child, and that's because my elder siblings are twins. But now that the name, which is very special to me, also ties into the winemaking philosophy, where I really strive to make high quality wines that are inspired by character, quality, and personality. You really want wines to really show where they come from. Background is very important. These are really beautiful, unique sites that I work with. They are in the Polka Dry area, literally on the Polka Dry hills. So the one site is right high up on the hill. It's got granite soils. So granite soils really contribute a lot of guts to the wine. They give the wines a bit more tannin and structure, and then the one site is just low-lying on the foothills of Polka Dry on sandy soils, and those contribute a lot of bright red fruit to the wine and freshness, and that's what you get in the wine. Personality, so that has to do with the influence of the weather in terms of determining what a vintage looks like. Personality is like same woman in a different dress, different personality depending on how they feel. Yeah. I have to cook for my mother. I think my mother loves stew. I'd make a beautiful beef stew with samp and some roasted vegetables and pair this wine with that. It'll definitely go down well. Is it fair to say I'm living my dream? I'm just living in it. I don't even have to reach it, like I'm in it. Yeah.